the sister of originally 10 siblings they were. But one of them passed away 2 years old in a cough disease. So they were all together 9 children and the 2 parents.
Mom.
So I think one should see Edith in this concept of being a family. But now we should actually have started in Västerås, where we are going to end, because she was born around Västerås. Edith and her, let's say, 8 brothers and sisters that we can follow, and the parents, which is Sara. Do you have any one of you met Sara? She passed away in 97.
More.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do.
So I understand that those of you that came to the States, they had Murmur as a central figure somehow.
Correct.
And I'm sure that the younger of you have heard about Murmur.
Yes,
a lot.
we have.
Recently, especially, yes.
Yes. So it is Murmur, and then it's her husband, that should be Morfar in that case, Per Alfred. And now we come into problems because they have switched names. They are very similar, the names. So what we will follow is the siblings, Murmur and Morfar, and then going back one generation more. So we'll go to, my idea was that we go to the place where Murmur was born. That's 1854, I think it was 54, yes, so 53, 54. And we go to the village where she was born. And there she lived with her parents. And her parents, that was Sara Maja was the name of Sara's mother, Murmur's mother. That is a connection to this place actually.
Really?
Because Sara Maja was a maid in this manor for some time, a couple of years. And she was actually born here. So her parents again, now we are in 1825 something. They were working for here. He was a farm labor, and the mother was a maid. And that's how. And this was a big estate those days. Now it's separated. It's another estate that come together. And the house is made as a hotel or a restaurant. So there is a connection to this house going back very far back. Now the father of Sara, but the father was someone that the community took care of. That means he was very poor, and he was walking around among the girls. So that's the story that the baby just comes out sometime. Edith was born around in Västerås. So was Edvard, who was the first one. And then there was Knut. And then Edith is the third child, actually, that Sara gave birth to. They were born down in Västerås, and so was Sigrid, that is Cindy's mother, Gleason. Yes, Sigrid, yeah. They were here actually in 55 or so, Sigrid and Erik. And the interesting thing is also that the first children, up to Edith. That's the three. One is gone, but the others, they were baptized in Swedish church. But from and Edith was also baptized, and we're going to that church there. But then came Karl Alfred, that is my grandfather. He was not baptized, and not the following children. And that is the story of how baptism came into the family.
Interesting.
Sarah was not a Baptist when she came to the surroundings of Västerås, but Per Alfred was. And he had inherited that from his parents. And the first sign of that they were Baptist was that in the church records, the church kept records of all inhabitants, sort of censorship. But it was more than that. That was also the church checked that everybody could read and write. And that was the reason why Swedes could read and write very early, actually. But the first sign was in 1860 in the church record. It's a B before his name in the church record, meaning that he was not a believer of the Lutheran Church, but a Baptist. And then one has to understand how the society worked those days. The church the Swedish church was should record all inhabitants in Sweden, and they should also check that they could read and write and that they were vaccinated.
Wow.
That was the TBC vaccination. So they were readers, called the readers according to Swedish Church, because they had separate meetings in the homes, religious meetings. And that was a problem for the Swedish Church, because they taught another sort of religion. I mean, the baptism is the example whether you baptize adults or children or so. Now, when they had lived in Västerås for a while, Per Alfred got a job up here in Smedjebacken. It's always called Smedjebacken, but the village we are going to see is Lärnbo. So they moved here, and he got a job at somebody who owned the factory, and he became a foreman probably in carpentry in that factory. And the factory was owned by Baptists. So you see, that is a connection. Now, this place, Smedjebacken, was very interesting for Baptists. There were a lot of Baptists here. And they was quite rebellious against the Swedish church. They didn't want the priest, the vicar, to be paid by the government. The vicars should not, or priests should not be paid according to baptism. That should be laymen who served. And I think that is, you can see that in this history of baptism in US also. They were so rebellious that there was even upheavals here against the church. And the priest had to make a notice in the local paper. It's a long notice in the paper where he defends the Swedish church and also explains how it should be in the church, and that the Baptists were more rebels. So that was the sort of tension in the community here. Another tension was that along with the religious movement, there was also the labor movement. And they were also rebellious against the state. And the church represented the state locally. So there was also struggles and strikes and things that the labor movement did. Now, in the family, among the 2 grown-ups and the 9 siblings, all siblings probably, and mother and father, they adopted baptism. My grandfather didn't, and he was quite against the church. He became a labor movement instead. I mean, it's still, then there were other movements also at the time that was against drinking and things like that. And then again, there was the king, and the king was quite powerful, and he ruled the church, and the nobles also. So there was tensions in the society at the time when Edith and the siblings were young. Compared to the US, you have the polarization and things like that. From here, we go to Lärnbo. And there we can see the remains of how it was those days. There is no physical buildings or anything like that, but that gives a sense of where the family lived. And they lived there for 6-7 years. So that was for the young children that grew up there and those who were born there, that was quite an important period. And the family always talks about the Smedjebacken as where they lived, but they connected more to Västerås actually, because from here they moved back to Västerås, and Carl Alfred put up a, do you call it joinery? Carpentry?
Carpentry, yeah.
And he made, he was known as a very skilled furniture carpenter in the area actually, and he made very beautiful furniture. The certain design, all of you can see on the look that is a furniture from Per Alfred. But he was not recognized. It's not a seal or anything like that. But he was quite well known. And my grandfather took over that job and had a small shop in the house where we lived, and there came customers from all over the town had wanted to renovate furniture and things like that.
Wow.
So the family in this area there are people that develop ore and iron, things like that, and then there are farmers, but there were also craftsmen. That was how they survived in those days. That was the trades they had. And Per Alfred, we are going to see one piece that he has made here.
Wow.
That it just, yeah. And then maybe when we come to Västerås, I should ask if they could open the ballroom where he had laid the oak floor.
Wow.
So that he was, yeah. We can follow the family from Lärnbo, and then we just make a stop at Backa, where the furniture factory was. But that is changed now to a house where people are living, I think, but you can see the surroundings. And then we go into Smedjebacken, and we'll see the Salem temple that Per Alfred sort of led the building of. And we are going to see another that he did. And probably he earned some money on that construction work. Because they could afford to live well when they lived here. All the 12, or all the 11. But I mean, it's a certain kind of food. I have put in a picnic. And that is, we made food like they had, that the Per Alfred and Sarah should have offered.
Oh, nice, perfect. That's so nice.
Yeah, it's you will find it to taste very strange. But that we will do in the picnic. And then that is on the way to halva spänning. That is now a branch of the family tree. That is the oldest part that I have found now. And then we are in 1570.
Wow.
And that is on Per Alfred's branch and on his mother that came down to Västerås. But the branch follows up in this area, not knowing about each other. And then they were working with forging iron and things like that. So we're going to see that old place.
So are there iron mines?
There are a lot of mines around here.
Oh, interesting.
So, and that is actually the ground of the wealth of Sweden. And also that Sweden fought wars in Europe in the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, up to 1812, then it stopped. 1814. And there were wars all the time. So that had to be funded somehow. And that was from iron ore in this area. And there was also copper ore that was more valuable, of course. But the iron was important because they could make the cannons. So this was, yeah, there are a lot of mines in this area. And there are still some, but most of them are closed down. But now one is thinking, because it's the iron ore is phosphorus free, which means it's easy to handle and to work with. Now they are discussing when to open the mines here again, because there are a lot of ore in the rocks here.
Yeah.
It's a very nice and pretty story that the pastor was sent by God to collect Edith.
Yeah.
And that is out from belief rather than facts, I think.
Right.
So your sense is
American
that,
story.
now, did Edith work with Reverend Sunmark here?
Yep.
And then, did he then took her there
Yep.
to Jamestown?
According to Jim, he asked her to come to be the nanny in the family. Another story is that she was employed and she went to the state with the Sundmarks. But Sundmarks didn't have any money left when they came to the US. So the family just had to drop her just when they came to a good Baptist life in the US. Because here there was struggles all the time. And in US there could be a good Baptist and develop that.
Yeah.
And also that she liked the children, the Sundmark's children. But it could also be that Per Alfred thought it was a good thing that she went to to with the Sundmarks to a better life. I mean, what do people believe or think, and why are the reasons why you take stands in different directions? But that's interesting. When you go into this sort of studies, you come into how did people think, and how was the surrounding, in what kind of society did they live, how are connections.
Nature and nurture.
That's a very interesting part. Now we will stop in places that will encourage us to new talks. We are out of timetable now.
Okay.
Down on the backyard, I can see an old, looks like a barn, and that was the factory where Edith Alfhid was the foreman, and there were several, and almost all of them were Baptists. So that's also interesting how it connects. Now there are almost no Baptists around here. They have gone. The church has gone together with the Pentecostals and also a missionary church. So there are very few. That's secularization.
Is Lutheran still the dominant religion?
Yes. Work was here to come and help Sarah to bake. So that took a day, and they had a day off from the factory. Yeah. But imagine to make bread for 11 people.
That's a lot. They were
Just
busy.
a meal for 11 people.
En hårt bröd var det.
It was crisp bread, of course. Because they dried it and they kept it in the ceiling on pins, on stocks.
But it wouldn't get moldy that way, right?
Because it's dry.
Because it was dry. No moisture in it.
Yeah.
We really appreciate the way you're putting this in context of the social movements that were going on and the religious beliefs of the people. That makes it so much more deep and meaningful. Thank you.
I think it was difficult times for those people. Going back another generation to Per Alfred's and Sarah's parents, that was also a difficult time in Sweden, because we had lost the war against Russia. And that was in 1809. And half of Sweden, which now is Finland, that was a part of Sweden since 1400. And that was lost to Russia. And that is interesting now when you talk about Ukraine and the Finns, how they react, and why the Finnish president is present when they meet Trump. Because they have the knowledge. Now it's a question of losing parts of Ukraine.
Right.
So, and that was a trauma for Sweden to lose half the country.
Yeah.
And that was also a part of where these people lived, and how. I mean, I don't think they didn't have news and things like that, but they got to know things. And they got to know the feelings of losing half the country. And then they should continue to... They were poor at that time also.
Yeah.
Per Alfred worked here.
Yeah.
And it's said that that door is made in his workshop.
One we just saw?
We were just were, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I was told this house is now it's a private house, and it's the apartment. You can see on the windows how the bottom floor and the upper floor, they have kept the windows, but you can see how it's divided.
Yeah.
And he lives here himself. The house is built, was smaller from the beginning, and then it was extended later on. And that was made by some other constructor.
So it was built to be a Swedish
Temple.
Baptist
Yep.
church.
Yep. You know, here there were, at most, there were about 260, 280 Baptists, I think, here. But they competed with the mission church.
Oh.
So the mission church has a similar house further up here, which is very fancy in this village. I don't know in which house or where, but she was born here. And her parents came here to live. This village, there is an iron mine up there, a small one. And they lived on producing iron here, together with the twin village that we are going to pass when we leave here. And you can see some of the houses are quite big, so they were quite wealthy here. There was, and they were modern for the time. They built a school in the community. They had a dairy, and there was a sort of business going on here also among these people that owned the mine and that produced iron from the mine.
So is this like a little community? And the name of it is Torbo?
Yep,
And this is a village.
this is the village.
And this road, this is kind of the...
Yeah,
Street?
Main Street, you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah. With all the fancy warehouses and stores and everything.
Box stores, yeah.
The stores were that you went to the farmer and get some milk.
Yeah. So this is where Mormor was somewhere in one of these houses.
Yes, 1854. 3. I don't remember, 4 or 3.
And she would have been here until she went to school here.
Yeah, her mother died when she was around 10, 14. And she was the next oldest girl in the family. So the oldest girl, and she had to take care of the household. And they were about 5 or 6 siblings. So she was here, and she also went, that is also remarkable at the time. She went to school for 3 years, from the age of 7. So that must have been around 1860. And school, that was a couple of hours a day, or maybe every second day or so. And in those days, people didn't have much money. So in the family, it could be that one of the children went to school one day and the other the next day, because they shared the shoes.
Shared shoes, no.
So you go to college. Times are different. But anyway, it seems that she was very clever in school also. There are some remarks on that.
What led them to leave Torbo?
Sarah, when she was, I think, 18 or so, then she had to take care of herself. So she became a maid in different farms. And to survive, or the family couldn't afford to keep her. And then she had done what she could for the younger children, the younger siblings. And the father was also ill, so they had problems actually in the family. He was he died 1878, the year when Sara and Per Alfred should marry in Tortuna. And then Per Alfred's parents were dead. That's another story that we can take later. But Sara's father was died just before the marriage, so he couldn't. In the marriage, the parents had to agree that it should be a marriage, and for Per Alfred's part, he did it for himself because his parents were dead. But Sara's father was living. He couldn't come to Tortuna, so he had given permission through the vicar here to the vicar in Tortuna, so they could be married. So Sara's father died just half a year before they married, or a couple of months even, I think. Yeah. That's in that family. There were the siblings that were orphans, more or less. Then there was one of the guy's sons who couldn't take care of himself. So there was a time when Esther, that's the youngest sibling of the 9, and she was a dwarf person, but she was sent here to take care of that old man here, and that was Sara who sent her. So that you can also see that the Eriksson family keeps together somehow.
Now, Esther, she went to the United States.
Yeah, 17.
And she lived with C.S. and Edith?
Could be for a while. But then she was made in different houses.
In Jamestown?
In Jamestown, yeah.
I think she's buried with Sarah.
With Sarah, yeah.
Yes, and Esther.
Yeah, you
Other
can
side.
see that on the stone.
Yes.
Sarah on one side and Esther on the other.
Yeah.
And yeah, Sarah was over 40 when she got Esther. So you can imagine difficulties coming up. But she managed.
Yeah. And Esther was a dwarf. I mean, she was...
Yeah. Yeah. There is a medical term for her illness, but I don't remember that.
There you go. I've seen pictures.
You can see that also on the group picture.
Yeah.
She's in the front.
Right.
And you can see the hands and that.
Yeah, because I don't know that much about her other than I've seen her name on the gravestone next to
Buried in,
C.S. and Edith.
I didn't.
On the other side. On the other side. The names on the other side.
Name there, but
No, Sarah's grave. It's on Sarah's grave.
Yeah.
That's the same as Edith.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
So on a gravestone, there's Edith and Carl.
Okay,
And on the back side, it's Sarah and Esther.
okay.
Yeah. That's because it's Dalarna?
No, they do that in Åland.
Okay.
That's a custom.
Ah.
so at the top, 1992. They put it up that long ago.
Yeah, but
wouldn't wanna take it
sometimes I
down
think
either.
they take it down and put new loaves on it. But that is, you can see that in many places that they have that.
So what's the significance of this place?
No, this is what you can read there. This is schoolhuset.
Ah,
Schoolhouse.
of course.
And this is the school where Mormor went to.
Ah, perfect.
I don't know whether somebody comes out, but this house is built in the 18th century, but it replaced old houses, and now we are on as I said, on a different branch of our family tree.
Okay.
So we start with Per Alfred, and now we leave Sara.
Right.
So Per Alfred's mother's side came from here.
Okay.
And this is the last note I have is from 1571.
1570.
1571?
Yeah.
Wow.
But there must have been people living here before. But the village here this is called Halvarbenning. For some years we were abroad. We started in UNESCO, working in the Maldives. I got the question, can you take the job in the Maldives? And I didn't know. I found some spots on the map. And that was interesting, because those days Maldives was a very backward country, very poor, one of the poorest countries in the world. Now it has developed tourism, and it's completely different. Those days you couldn't even buy food for money.
What year was that?
77, 78.
Wow.
Okay.
There were. I mean, you could eat tuna fish. So now our daughter was born out there. Then we went to Sri Lanka, so she was born in Colombo. And then they went home, but I had to serve my contract, so I had to stay. So in those days, I had curried tuna for breakfast, and then it was lunch, exciting, curried tuna, and then the evening meal, that was really the top, curried tuna.
Oh, yes.
8 days of a week.
Wow.
So, and it was difficult times in the Maldives those days. Now it's completely different. It is still difficult because when the tsunami was, the islands were covered with salt water, so they didn't have any water basin for fresh water.
Yeah.
So they had to move people. But Maldives is one of the countries that will sink.
Yeah.
We all know. Then we worked. We went home, but we longed out again. So we got the possibility to go to Kenya. Well, Kenya first, yeah. So we lived in Kenya for 1.5, 2 years, it was something. And Karin went to school there, in Swedish school. I worked for Red Cross, management development and organization development and things like that. And then we came home, and then I got new jobs, good jobs, and then they phoned from the Red Cross again and wondered whether I could be their representative in Addis Ababa.
Wow.
And so I couldn't. First I said, no, I can't do that. Let me call back. And I called back straight away and said, yes, I'll take it. So then we went to Ethiopia, which was a very interesting and nice place. It was...
Was Karin with you at that
yes,
time?
Karin went to the international school there.
Okay.
And when we came, it was a very strict communist regime. And then this was 89, so the Soviet Union fell, or East Germany, the wall fell. Which also meant that the regime in Addis Ababa fell.
Right.
But into not a better regime, really.
Yeah.
So, but it was interesting to live in a communist country. I know that Americans call Swedish socialist communist, but it's not.
Yeah, no, we just don't understand a social, system.
Yeah. And I know also that the Democrats in U.S. are called communists. So we are in the same boat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what we've done. Yeah. In Red Cross, Margareta is, talk for yourself, but she's working in a second-hand shop with Red Cross.
Yeah.
As usual.
And I is involved in international law, the rule of laws in war laws and things like that. And is trained so I could teach in that. And that's my contribution in the Red Cross nowadays.
Fascinating.
So I was born in Västerås 79 years ago. A little more now.
How come you moved to Karlskoga? Was it some kind of
That-
work?
that
Because
is-
of me.
That's
Okay.
Margareta's
Okay.
telling, because I moved with her.
Okay.
But Margareta and I got together in 68 and got engaged in 68. But then we didn't, I don't know why, but we never married. But then when I got a job in UN, in UNESCO, then there was a difference in salary if you were married or if you were not.
Very romantic.
However your dreams do.
So a rainy day, we went to the mayor in Uppsala and got our certificates.
That's funny.
Yeah. So but that was I'm lucky. I'm happy. So that was okay. But it was a difference of $1,000
Yeah.
if you were married and if you not were married. So I bought her for $1,000.
Yes, you was she.
Good, yeah. You got a bargain, baby. So you were a librarian,
Yes,
profession?
yes. So we moved to Karlskoga because I got a job there.
Lived in Karlstad before.
Yes, not long, some year in Karlstad, and then Karlskoga, and we have liked to be in Karlskoga very much. It's a nice town. People are nice.
We have the Nobel Museum.
Yeah. So I went with you to all these countries, and in Ethiopia I worked with the foundation called Blishta. So we had people in Sweden who sent money to children in Ethiopia. So I helped to manage that.
And clothes. Och kläder.
Yeah, but it stopped.
Oh.
It was better to buy
Locally. Yeah.
locally.
Yeah.
And then I, as a hobby, I like to teach my dog. And we have vad heter det? Varit med i tävlingar, vad heter det?
Competition.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in different. Yes.
Agility.
And obedience and a lot of things. It was,
We'll have
it
to
was
see a
very
demonstration. Yeah.
She's older. She's 14 and I'm old too, so it was a long time now.
You even danced with a dog.
Yes, freestyle with dog. So that's my hobby, and gardening. And then I like to be in the Red Cross in Karlskoga, in their second-hand shop. And then and another lady has the ansvar.
Responsibility.
Yes, for books.
Bookselling.
Book department. And that's very important for me to meet other people. And to be in the shop is very, very fun. Yes.
I love that.
Tell us about Karen. Where is she?
She's in Norway, south of Oslo,
Oh my.
in a vad heter det? Asker in
Yeah, in a suburb.
yeah.
Asker, and she is a medical physician.
She has 3 children?
Two.
2
Children.
Emilia 18 and Anton 14.
Okay. Well, I worked in a bank all the time, and I retired when I was 61. And I was married, and he doesn't live any longer. He passed away in 1918, and he was much older than me. So we got 5 years retirements together. So I'm glad for that. So no, I don't know what to say more. I thought a little about you Americans. We have had so much fun, and of course it's because of Aunt Cornelia. Yeah, and I think you know her history too. When she decided, she wasn't married here, and she decided to emigrate to U.S. And then he met her Carl on the boat on her way to
Carl Gustafson.
Yes. On her way to US. So then she got in contact with all your parents and so on, all the one who lives there. And I know my mom and dad, they went over in 1967. And then Cornelia and Carl took them, so they met them in New York. They went by boat. And took them to Jamestown and all over, and it was so great especially for my mom. So she got to go. And you said Lyle, he was a joker and had much. I always remember. They said my dad didn't speak any English at all. He didn't speak anything. And when they had a picnic or something like that, then my dad and Lyra were standing on the bridge away, and they were laughing, and they were laughing, and they just wonder what they say to each other. So I like my American heritage too. I don't know. There's anything more to say?
Hobbies?
No.
Do you read books or do you garden?
No
Do you
garden.
train dogs to do jumping?
No. I read more. Yeah. And if you read on this paper you got today, you know what I'm doing a lot with the computer and put together.
That's unbelievable. It's fantastic.
And it was so fun. Then I haven't asked you, Nils, but we have met each other when we have had company from US, and Cornelia took around, and we have met. You were in Ulricehamn. It was when Sue and Carl got married. They married here in Sweden, Carl and Sue. And then we had a family reunion, and you came down, and your mother were with us. It was 94, 96. You can see it in the paper. So. What was I going to say? Anyhow, and then... You know, when you're younger, you don't listen so much to your parents. You're not interested in what happened many years ago. But the older you get, the more interested you will be. So, and when our mom Doris, she passed away in 1911. And you know how it is. We put things in a box and said we can look at that later on, you know, papers and so on. And no, it was your kids, your children. Christina have 3 children. I don't have any children. Christina have 3 children. With Carl, with Kalle. Yeah, I share them. Sure, I do. Then they were going to ask. You, someone of you remember Joachim and Josephine when they went over. Yeah, and he was going to ask a little, and then we said we have to look at the papers and so on, and then we found diaries.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, from David. You know. He went over 1936 just to see his mother and his siblings, and he write diaries. And we have seen a little book, but we didn't know what it was. So it was so interesting, and we tried to read it, but it was, you know, mixed up Swedish English, and it was in the old Swedish, so it was hard, and it was what do you say? Yeah. So, but we sat and we read it many times, and then we said, "There's no idea because if we have to translate it because the kids can't see." Or read it anyhow. So we did. And then we even found a diary from Grandma Alma when she got on the boat with the 2 small girls.
Wow.
And she described how it was, and even when she moved around here before David came.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting.
That's very interesting.
Oh,
Very.
it sure is. Yeah, I was going to ask. And then I said to Christina, I have to write down something like that. I know I am not interested to go back to the 14th or 15th century, but I want to know now what's happening.
Tilburga Church.
The top part of this, like the upper portion, is from, I think, sometime around the 1100s.
Wow.
So like 12th century. The lower part is actually wood that's been painted like rock and was done much later, maybe 17th century. Yeah.
So my grandmother, this would have been 18th, would have been baptized here. So they would have just simply, literally, they had a ceremony, would have put water on.
I don't know if the traditions have changed anything over like the past decades, but the way we do it today is that we would hold the baby over here, and then they'd lift up some water and put it over the forehead of the baby. And so that's what would have likely happened.
Yeah. What year did she get baptized? Do you remember?
That was, she was born 84. So it was in 84.
84? And this, what kind of church would this have been then in 84?
The same church, yeah. Oh,
What kind of church?
this is a Lutheran Reformist church.
Lutheran Reformist.
Yeah. So, I mean, all Swedish churches are Lutherans. So when the people came to America, if they weren't Baptist, as our folks were, they, I think they joined the Lutheran church in Jamestown. And so, yeah.
So when did, just to put a timeline, when did they become Baptist? When would have Edith become a Baptist?
Now, she was born.
Okay.
No, yes. I mean, she She was baptized as a child here in the Lutheran Church.
Right.
And that to me indicates that Sarah was not Baptist when she got the first children. But after Edith, there was Karl Alfred, and he was not baptized. So then she must have been convinced somehow that one shouldn't baptize children.
Got it.
Which indicate to me that then she accepted baptism.
Okay, Baptist, okay.
Yeah. So, and probably she had the say there because Per Alfred was already Baptist since he was a small boy, and his father, that we had indicated in 1860. And that is indicated in, he was then living in a parish nearby here that is called Hubbo. He was working as a foreman on the farm in Tränhammar, which is a big estate there. Now that's more or less a horse estate, I think. But we could see that, but it doesn't look very nice around the house, but it's still there. So we could bypass it when we leave Tortuna, if you wish. So he was probably a true baptized in 1860, and perhaps before, but not as a child. So something must have happened since he left his home, which is a long story that we could talk about later. But so he worked as a farmhand in different places, yeah. And as he came from a home that ran a big estate, so he was probably trained to take care of an estate. That's why he became a foreman on Tränhammar. And that is the first indication, B, a B in the church book. Baptist Chapel. And that was built also by Per Alfred. And he was living in the place where we are going to. And I think he was in contact, there were a lot of readers, as I said, and they wanted a chapel. So here in the surrounding, they found this place. Now it's a private place, and I usually stay here, or stop here, and they are not very keen that I do that. And the chapel, the door was open once. I was here, and there are still things from the Baptist time in here. But they use it as a warehouse or storehouse. And it's also falling apart.
I see it as signed 1887.
Right.
That would have been when they built the church?
Yes. And that is the year before they moved to Smedbacken.
So back then, no cars. This is a long distance from Smedbacken by horse.
Yes, but you know the railroad goes just here. We crossed the railroad, and that is the new railroad, but it has the same route as it was those days. And then they came to the station where we first were in the morning. So that was the direct.
So it wasn't so far because they could take trains.
Wow. This is the church where Per Alfred and Sara, mormor, were married, 1879. There is some indications that Per Alfred came here as a labor, and he came from some other place. But at that place, there was also a maid, and occasionally they moved here at the same time. You could get suspicions.
One could get suspicious.
Now, Sara came here from Norrberg or Smedjebacken and took jobs in families as maid. So here were those two. Then Per Alfred was called in for exercise training. That was a military training that everybody had to do. So that was undertaken in a farm near a neighboring town, a big farm. They had practice there. Occasionally, Sara got a job as a maid at the same farm. And that was in 1888. And in 1889, there was a wedding. And the other maid that came along here, I tried to trace, and she just went out somewhere else. Isn't that a TV story?
I think so. Yeah, we were looking and we were thinking, well, this family's too good. There's got to be some spice in there somewhere.
Yeah. Now, that is my imagination.
Yeah.
But anyway, they got married here, and then they lived in Söderby, where we are going next. It's just across the field here. Then Edward was born. But he was dying in, coughing, that children get stalked. So he died at 2 years old. Knut died in kidney, yeah. That was of some troubles after his diabetes. And Knut left Norrberg to work in carpentry, well-known carpentry, that he should be a journeyman. But he didn't make that because of his diabetes. He couldn't do it. So then my grandfather, Carl Alfred, who was older than Knut, went to the same place. He took over Knut's job, or filled in rather.
And where was that then?
That was 1904. Around 1904.
Did all the other siblings die of just natural causes?
Yeah, after Carl Alfred, who stayed on here and became a laborman, there was Sigrid. She went on her own 6, 7, 8. And she did that with Joseph. And we haven't talked about Joseph, your uncle Joseph, which I know very little about. But that we could take up later, because I think it's important now that you get the time to talk about this fabulous church. It's this church is known in the whole of the country for what we see. Please.
Yeah. So the history of this church actually starts with somewhat of a legend. There used to be, religious buildings around this area as early as in the 11th century. But as the legend goes, they were apparently plundered and robbed by trolls. And they couldn't have that, so they built a wooden church in place. And unfortunately, that church was also met with an unfortunate fate, that there was, as the legend goes, an ox that broke into it and desecrated the church. And so eventually in the early 12th century, they decided to build a stone church. And they had to move it a little bit, likely because of needing a different type of foundation for a stone church. But that is when this church was originally built. It did not look quite like this when it was built. It has been renovated and detailed several times throughout the years. But these paintings, they were added at the very start of the 1500s, so early 16th century. And it is not known who painted them, but they do tell of someone who has very extensive theological knowledge of Christianity, because they depict various steps of the story that the Bible tells, the history of the Bible. And they depict a collection of saints, which is not usually grouped together by most Swedish Christian schools of that time. So it is very unique in that way. There have been, since that, there was like damages that happened to the church, lightning strikes, and they had to sell off some of the paintings that you see are pictures of along the wall next to the altar to afford to make restorations of the church. But yeah, the church has been here since quite a while back. The arches were originally made of wood, but something were added in stone, and the paintings were done shortly after.
They were small houses, and they are quite expensive now. It's nice to live here. And I don't know about the neighbors or anything about that. But this is something that they could have looked like before they were renovated. And interesting that those living here, they have also put an old chair or a sofa there that could be the sign of the time from late 1800s. So in one of these houses, first Per Alfred rented, and then when Sarah came, the family rented a house here. And here they had Edward. And then after that, they lived here a couple of years, and then they moved to the manor house where he was a carpenter for the count. And there was Edith and Karl Alfred and Sigrid were born.
These two warlocks here, looking out over their domain.
Oh, there, it's on the left. This is so cool. It is cool. There's unclear as to what it possibly is, but right? The one they found from 300s is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know where the guy was digging.